a broadcast, what you need to do is to read the description of the broadcast, like it, share it, invite your friends and your not so friendly friends, tell them to join us, join the discussion, right? And let us go through it together. So thank you. If you have already done that, okay, like the broadcast is quite important. That's why I have to remind you every now and then. And thanks to those of you that were never to be asked. So thank you. So tonight we are starting with what is now looking like a brewing kind of political crisis, if it ever gets to that. Remember, a lot of us have been saying that if those in opposition in Nigeria genuinely want to actually like be the right opposition or to go into an election with APC, then they would need to pay attention to the Electoral Act. Not like that one is one solution or one size fit all, but it could be the start, since they are all screaming free and fair election, free and fair election. So the elections in Nigeria is always conducted based on the rules set by those who are in power. And it is only once that the opposition, in the recent times, that the opposition managed to beat the incumbents in their own game. And we all know why that happened and how it happened. So since then, APC, Egbekegbe, that prize themselves as progressives, which I call them progressives in Nigeria, have done more and more damages to elections in Nigeria, to the point that they have eroded people's sort of faith in electoral process in Nigeria. Electoral reform, people have been saying it. One of the things that they said they were going to do in 2023 that got a lot of people interested at the time, hoping that maybe their own elections will actually really count this time at the time. So what they did was that when the National Assembly put together the amendment of the Electoral Act in 2022, they did something that the opposition didn't pay attention to, and in fact helped the entire illegitimacy that you currently battle with, right? And what was that? Inside that Electoral Act, the INEC of Nigeria introduced what they call the electronic transition of, or electronic transmission of election results, as well as biometric sort of like a, verification before you are allowed to vote. Now, this was supposed to be the new innovation introduced into your elections in 2023. And Nigeria committed over 200 billion naira in preparation, including in investing in the technology called BVAS, and then the IREF. So the BVAS is the physical machine that will scan you, take your picture, make sure that you are the right person or the right person on the voter's card. And once you are cleared, then you go on and vote. And once you finish voting, that your vote should automatically, right, be transferred from that polling unit, not when you get to collation centers, okay? But inside that law, what these criminals did at the time was that they inserted an act that made the use of electronic transmission of results just at the discretion of the INEC. The INEC could choose to transmit the election results electronically or manually. So that section then makes it impossible for anybody to go to court and say the reason why they consider this election fraudulent is because INEC did not follow the Electoral Act that said they must transmit or transfer election results live to the IREF. Then the court now said, well, according to this Electoral Act, INEC can and can also decide not to, which means by this law, if INEC chooses to use manual means of transferring election results, loading and falsifying election results, well, that's it. So this time around, The campaign then is that this section of the Electoral Act must be amended and the following should be added to it. Let me show you something on the screen. So it was said that this section 65 of the Electoral Act, the one they used in 2022, and the ones they have recently passed in 2023, I'm sorry, 2026, is that they must make the transmission of election results, electronically transmission of the election results, mandatory. Do you get that now? And they should remove the part that says INEC can use their discretion. No. If the law says transmit election results electronically, then it should be the law. It shouldn't be something that the agency will decide not to so. I'm just giving you the base. And if we have the Ronukus, especially those ones, the sewage dwellers who are watching us from Facebook, is good. This is just the beginning, so relax. And then you will still have a chance to express your frustration in that regard, okay? So here, Akpabiole today was explaining what they passed, because according to the other senators, they said what they passed is that they should retain the electronic transmission of results like it is in that of the 2022. And for some reason, they said there's no reason to amend it anymore. What do you mean? The bone of contention is that it must be mandated. It should be mandatory. It shouldn't be like optional for INEC. But here, they are putting up their own defense. Let's start with that. Akpabiole.
There was no deliberate attempt on the part of the Nigerian Senate to delay the amendment of the Electoral Act. Our intention had always been to ensure that we do our best and we do it painstakingly, taking our time to ensure that what comes out reflects the yearnings and aspirations of all Nigerians. And also to be sure that the next election, all questions connected with the next election will be answered by the amendments to the Electoral Act 2022. But the social media already is awash with the fact that the Senate has rejected electronic transmission. That is not true. That is not true. Electronic transmission had always been in our act. And what we did was to return the electronic transmission, which had been in our act and which was used in 2022. So please do not allow people to confuse you. If you're in doubt, we will make our final votes and proceedings available to you if you apply and you're entitled, so that you'll see. This Senate, under my watch, has not rejected electronic transmission of results. It's in my interest as a participant in the next election for such to be done. So please don't go with the crowd. Don't go with the crowd. We have retained what was in the previous provision. That's all we did. So if we rejected what was proposed by way of amendment and said, let's retain what was in the previous provision, the previous provision had made provision for electronic transmission. So it is still there as part of our laws. And I think we should be moving forward, not moving backwards. There is no way we can, in this era of electronics, will now be going backwards. So it's important to know that. So the membership of the conference committee, there was no
nuisance, Lele.
Again, just in case if we have some of the Ronukus watching right now, without rigging, APC can't win any real election. Not in that Nigeria, no matter how poor Nigerians have become. Because you know something, if your POS, as they call it, could actually operate even in the remotest part of Nigeria, and terrorists could also upload videos of their own victims in their den online in the deep jungle of your forest in Nigeria. Trust me. And also, by the way, as long as INEC INEC ballot boxes, they will always find their way to every corner, even the remotest part of Nigeria, as much as there is election. Even if there is no real infrastructure, physical infrastructure like road that will lead to such communities, but they will still take it there. So that simply means that they can put networks on those your beavers and what have you. Because you know why? If for any reason Nigeria criminals decided to do two things. First one, digitally capture every person that is called Nigerian. I'm talking about conduct a scientific census to identify the actual number of Nigerians that are existing in inside that Nigeria census. If they could do that one first. Then the second one, if you're indeed registered voters, right, were actually captured electronically, that means they can't use they can't create fake voters, they can't create fake voters cards. And even if they did, on the day of election, with your beavers machine and the rest of that, that's the means of getting verified to vote. That too means all those fake numbers, 5 million, 2 million, 1 million, all those fake numbers, they will suddenly disappear. But since the power of incumbency that Tinubu is pretty much going to wield, he has made it pretty much like like big umbrella, even for all the rogues that are jumping to APC, to be covered by this entire grand scheme, landslide. That's what they are planning for 2027. Or if you then say your law says they can transmit the election results electronically or not. So the reason why APC will never win any real election in anywhere in that part of Nigeria, no matter how much they control, they control the system, if there is indeed verification for those who are participating in the election. That's one. But they won't do that. So what they would do and continue to do is that some people will continue to write the election results. So going into an election in this kind of arrangements, simply means it has been rigged even before the first ballot is casted. It's easier to see through. And if the opposition are genuinely coming to come and dislodge APC, then they will reject this. So the first set are the opposition senators in that their Senate, explaining it away. I'm coming back to that, right? Here, some of those who have worked behind the scene to ensure that this time around, right, the real reason why election rigging in Nigeria will continue to happen, right, is finally fixed, but the Senate has missed it. And it is it is intentional. Listen to this.
I think the whole country is shocked. Disappointed is an understatement. The whole country is shocked, and I am particularly depressed about what has happened. PLAC and civil society have worked with the National Assembly. National Assembly has conducted hearings, public hearings, zonal hearings, hearings across the country, getting views from citizens on what should be included in the Electoral Act. A lot of people have researched, have devoted time. I have personally been involved at no cost to the National Assembly on a pro bono basis to contribute to the efforts that have been made. I think what is important to point out here is that the National Assembly's set up the joint committees of the Senate and House. These two committees, members were exceedingly very devoted from the Senate, from the House, holding retreats, holding meetings, holding consultations with civil society. And the joint document that came out was to the satisfaction of everyone. The House of Representatives proceeded to pass what was agreed by the joint committee by and large, and it was waiting for the Senate to come to terms with the timing because everybody felt that there was an urgency to the Electoral Act. The Senate delayed making the House because it was supposed to be that both chambers were supposed to pass this on the same day and subsequently harmonize and send to the President for assent because of the urgency of it. The Senate did not do what it should do, or the Senate leadership did not bring this issue into discussion. It kept adjourning and adjourning. Finally, it said it set up a committee. That committee, from what we saw, that committee also agreed with the joint committee report. So it wasn't that the Senate, because I think it's important for Nigerians to know that a lot of the senators do not agree with what has been passed. A lot of the Nigerian senators. So we have to ask ourselves, how did what was passed get announced as what was passed? Because I know that majority of senators disagree with what has been announced as passed. So it's a question, how does a legislative house produce a document that is not in consonance with the majority of its members' position? The Senate President set up a committee. That committee met. That committee agreed in itself that what was originally presented by the joint committees was fine. This was discussed. I have never seen a situation where a chambers of the National Assembly on an issue of great public interest will go into closed session. Even in those closed sessions, members were quite firm in saying, we want an electronic transfer of results. We want what the joint committee has agreed to remain. But it seems to me that what has happened is that there is some interest. And I do not believe and I do not think that the president has given any instruction to anybody on what to insert into the Electoral Act or not. Every conversation that I've had, every discussions I've had tells me that the president has always expressed a desire to ensure that the Electoral Act is free and fair and represents what citizens want. There is no indication to me that the president wants electronic transmission of results to be removed from what has been put forward. I think what you're seeing is a situation where you have a few people who are lip reading or mind reading the president and trying to put into or extract from the Electoral Act that has been passed what they think the president would like. I don't think so. I have not heard so, and I have not seen. I think the whole.
That is him trying to be a little bit kind of give the benefit of doubt to Kalu. That maybe the Akpabiole and his gang, they are just reading the body language of a Kalu and then doing what they think he wanted them to do, even if it is different from what he's telling the public. Okay. In northern part of Nigeria, where it is believed, right, that this election or the electoral manipulation is so prevalent. A lot of people have questioned some of the numbers of their registered voters and the rest of that. When in the southern part of Nigeria, when they talk about technology, they talk about this from printing the biometric and the rest of that. You will see a sizable number of the eligible voters registering in the southern part of Nigeria subjected to actually use that biometric in that sense, compared to the number of those, that are being made to use it in northern part of Nigeria. So they go manual in most northern part of Nigeria, allowing the old trick of writing results, stuffing ballot boxes. But with technology in this sense, right? If the card reader can't read you in that sense, I mean, that means you can't really vote. So their own argument then was, okay, what if when the card readers are not working, does that mean that millions of people are going to be denied? So this is why